the #1 Costa Rica real estate and investment podcast, bringing you experts from all over Costa Rica.
G'day guys, and welcome to episode 222 of Costa Rica Real Estate and Investments with me, your host, Richard Beckson. Today, we talk with David Karr again. David, I think, probably has the crown for the most number of podcasts with us. I love to get him on here just because, again, it's very straight talk from him. Not much, I should say real estate salesy stuff. He is in real estate, but he's just a great guy. But he's the owner of the Coldwell Banker franchise in Jaco, which basically covers kind of everywhere from Manuel Antonio all the way up to kind of Punta Arenas. Today, we're going to be chatting about the developing luxury market in Jaco, what's kind of happening in the market, what he thinks is going to happen in 2025, and also where he sees opportunity as well. Guys, remember, if you're enjoying this pod, please share it as well. If you're looking to invest in Costa Rica or just want to chat with us, I mean, again, we have a wide range of stuff. We actually have long-term car rentals. We help people relocate. We do construction project management, do all the bidding and review it all, basically kind of owner's reps. We do investment advice, and we also have investment opportunities available here as well, where if you go to our website, www.investingcostarica.com, and sign up for our newsletter, we usually include the investment opportunities that we have there personally that we're developing, plus also other ones that we see in Costa Rica, because we actually grade properties here based on numerous different factors, location, rentability, etc., and give them kind of like a Moody's style grade. But you can email us info@investingcostarica.com, info@investingcostarica.com, or just go to the website, investingcostarica.com, and fill out the form there. But let's get straight into the podcast. Good morning, David. How are you doing?
Good morning, Richard. Good to see you as always.
Hey, you too, man. I think that you may have the crown for the most podcasts we've done with an individual.
Yeah, but you know what? With that said, I feel like we haven't done one of these in quite some time.
No, it's been a while. It's been a while, but it's always great to get you on and get your perspective, and appreciate you taking the time to kind of share your knowledge and experience with us.
For sure.
Awesome. Well, David, the first question I always love to ask is just kind of a bit of a market update. I mean, there's a bit of volatility in Western markets, US election, I don't know, I think we're going to see that volatility as, things in the world politically and also economically, kind of impact each other. But what are you seeing happening here in Costa Rica, kind of in your market and kind of like your workload and inquiries?
Yeah, well, we're seeing on our end, it's definitely cooled off last, 90 days, which is pretty typical for this time of year, right? It's going into our off season. That coincides with what's going on in the US. Yep. I've been around for 20 years, and it's pretty regular when a presidential election year, we have that we see a lot of people wait to make decisions. And yep. Especially this one, I think, as big as it is, that's kind of the feedback and the pulse that I'm getting is we have a lot of people that are just like, well, you know what, I just want to wait. I want to see what the reaction is, not just for them personally, but they want to see how things react from that, right? How the stock market reacts. And that's pretty typical with the presidential election.
Yeah, I mean, we've always seen that in tourism, which was where I kind of came from. And I think this is my first cycle in, I would say, the investment kind of world within it. But within tourism, there was always kind of like a little bit of a lull. We do some consulting work out there for other luxury property management companies here, and they're also seeing that little bit of a lull. I spoke to hotel owners, and they're like, yeah. And I'm like, look, guys, I think what you're going to see here is probably a last minute kind of wave begin to happen, for January, February, March next year. But again, as you said, it's just the uncertainty. People don't like uncertainty and won't make big decisions when there's uncertainty.
For sure. And I've been telling all my office, my staff, I'm like, get ready, because right. We anticipate there's definitely going to be some reactionary purchases in November. Yep. Then I think after that, I think people are going to sit around, whatever side they're on. I think specifically with the US, I think we're just seeing a lot of people that it doesn't matter necessarily the decision, but I think just the angst and the climate is just driving more and more people to say, you know what, I'm just tired of it. I want a more peaceful place. Yep. I want a more calming place. And they're seeking a place like Costa Rica.
It's amazing how many people say to me of like, wow, I had a client the other week who I had dinner with, and they were like, "It's so nice to be here in Costa Rica because it's just none of the election noise, nothing like not watching TV. Like everyone just wants to go to the beach, kind of hang out, have fun, eat dinner, like have a better style of living." And he's like, "I just wish I could do this full time."
Yeah, yeah. And these people in the battleground states, I
Yep.
mean, they're just getting hammered with ads and left and right. So I mean, you can imagine if you're in that, it's got to be getting pretty old pretty
Yeah.
quick.
Wow. So, I mean, what do you think 2025 will hold for Costa Rican real estate? And then, like, what do you think it will do to the Jaco market? And then also, do you think it'll be a buyer's or seller's market, David?
Good question. I think the trajectory that we're seeing especially in the Jaco area is I think it's cooling off. I think
Yep.
that we're going to see a little bit of a flat line,
Yep.
from that growth that we've seen the last 2 or 3 years. And I think that's going to continue. I think what we're going to see is there's going to be some spots in the market that are going to be soft. And that's kind of something to keep an eye on. And I think, kind of to answer your question, I think it could be both a buyer and seller's market, depending on that inventory. So if you have one of those good spots, in our market, i.e. a Los Sueños property, an
Yep.
Ocean View property, some of those more premium properties, then you could actually be in a good spot where we don't have that inventory. And yeah, you could be in a seller's market. However, you could be in a buyer's market if depending on that inventory. So I don't think we're going to fall off a cliff by any means. I don't think you're going to see fire sales or anything of that capacity, but I think you're going to get some opportunities to maybe come off of the retail price and maybe
Yep.
the inflated price that we've seen the last couple of years.
I mean, it sounds like I was about to ask the question like what products are most in demand, but it sounds like your Ocean View, Los Sueños stuff, kind of your more luxury, higher end stuff is in high demand.
For sure, for sure. What we're seeing in Jaco, and I think it's interesting how it's evolving. Jaco has always been one of the more affordable markets, and by and large hasn't been what we call a luxury market compared to other parts of the country. So it's been that affordable option, and I think what we're going to see is as the rest of the country gets priced out, specifically in those luxury properties, Nasara and Flamingo and even Dominical and Vita, all these other markets, where now all of a sudden $1.5 million doesn't go very far in those markets.
Yep.
And for us, that's still a very high-end market. So I think that's coming into our market, and we're going to start to see some of those opportunities in that development come into our area. But we haven't had it, right? I mean, for the most part in our area, luxury is Los Sueños. That's
Yep.
where that luxury buyer goes. So we're seeing a lot of signs of that, not just on the development side, not just on the interest side, but also too, and I think it's a big driver, and what's going to stimulate a lot of this is on the accommodation side of things. Our area doesn't have a lot of luxury accommodations as well,
Yep.
and that's the driving force of that buyer. So we have two hotels currently that are being fully remodeled or under construction that are going to be catering more towards a high-end clientele, $500 a night type accommodations. And that's going to bring that level of client to this area. So, there's a lot of good things coming to this area and a lot of new territory, so to speak, that we're going to see.
Maybe I'm asking the same question again, but what products are people looking for in your market that just don't currently exist?
Well, that's one, right?
Yep.
The luxury buyer, right? I mean, right now it seems like, again, that sweet spot that we're seeing is 1.5 million, up to 1.5. There's a lot more people now that is almost like an average. I wouldn't say, everyone, but it's a more common budget,
Yep.
and we don't have that inventory. What people want when they're in that range is they want contemporary, they want modern, they want newer, they don't want Tommy Bahama, they don't want dated, they want that newer look and they typically are going to want ocean view or beachfront, things of that nature. And again, we don't have it, right? It's not even a price point. We just don't have luxury properties. We don't have a lot of those here.
Yeah.
So that Los Sueños continues to just be insane. There's no inventory, high in demand. Anything ocean view. The beachfront in Jaco, the dated beachfront has kind of struggled to move. And again, I think that's just people don't want projects. They want the newer shiny look. So some of that dated beachfront has been a little bit harder. But beachfront's still in demand as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think, a lot of that beachfront is probably owned by local families, would you say, that have had it for a long time, or individuals?
Yeah, well, the beachfront development side, I was kind of referring more towards
Okay.
like condos. Yeah, like
Yeah.
existing, yeah, condos. Yeah, and they're foreigners,
Yeah.
for the most part, they're foreigners.
Yeah. Well, I agree on the luxury market there, just because, that Casa Serena that you have there, just rents absolutely incredibly. Justin kind of manages that. Those guys absolutely kill it. So I think if there's any, litmus test for that luxury market, it's definitely there. I mean, just look at their availability calendar and also what they're getting per night in Jaco, which is incredible.
Yeah, and that's a perfect example, Richard. Like that was new, right? That was new territory where we didn't have that. I mean, that was a client of mine that, spent over $4 million for a huge beachfront home that he is just killing it on rentals.
Yep.
And that's $2,500 to $3,500 a night, which in our area, whoa, I don't know if we're going to get that. And he's definitely proven that market's there. And then the next side of that, right, is people that are saying, oh, I would love to own a house like this. I would like to have a property like this.
Yep.
The inventory's not there, but now we're seeing signs of it. We have a new beachfront project I'm really excited about. That's going to be direct beachfront lots. We're very similar to that type that they're going to be building, high-end luxury homes right on the beach. So it's coming.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I was about to ask, are they good investments? But I know that they are based on, I think if you can manage the construction cost and also the design, because again, a lot of it gets lost in overbuilding and over engineering. We see it like, sometimes 15, 20% of like, we see construction budgets and it's like, dude, you don't need that. Like that's over designed and over engineered. I mean, we're going through it at the moment where I think we took 17% off, in value engineering a project. And the house only cost $800,000 to build, but the infrastructure was like 250, and it was like, it was nuts. But I mean, I think that there definitely is a market out there for luxury, and you just got to be careful that you don't get too taken away, with the design and over designing it and over architecture. And remember, you're designing a vacation rental as well, not a home, not a home to live in.
Oh, absolutely. And it's one of the biggest mistakes we make. Now, again, it depends on your goals, right?
Yep.
But I agree. I think the biggest mistake that people make when they go to build these houses and again, I think this is in our area, especially when most of these properties get up into the mountains and they get ocean view properties, beautiful views, big land. Well, they're paying a lot for the land. They're paying, $250,000, $300,000 for a lot. And it's hard for them to, well, if I'm spending that much, I got to build a big home. And not necessarily, right? You can do a lot with 3,000, 3,500 square feet, get that cost down. And now all of a sudden, your margins are better. And you're also in a different price tier that you can offer. But sometimes people build too much and then they price themselves out.
Yeah, I mean, I always say to people like, look, you need to be beachfront, walking distance to the beach, or you've got to be up in the mountains with a view and access to something down on the beach. Like if you you're too far to kind of walk, but don't really have a view, like it's just not, that's going to be a difficult, a difficult exit, difficult rental. Like you just don't need that.
Yep. It's got to be a certain price point.
Yeah. I mean, David, how available are beachfront lots in Jaco?
They're pretty much gone. Like right now, they're not there. Specifically Jaco, because of the development in Jaco, all of those pieces have pretty much been developed, or they've been, the game here has been, 5+ bedroom homes right on the beachfront because they rent well. So those are lucrative. So that has been pretty much exhausted and you can't find it anymore. That's why this new project, it's kind of a unique spot because it's on the north end, it's very undeveloped, and that's going to be 8 beachfront lots. To have, an opportunity to even get on the sand is pretty unique.
Yeah.
Hermosa still has a few options as well, but even then, I mean, beachfront, I think people forget sometimes just how limited direct beachfront, fully titled in Costa Rica really is.
How much are those lots, if you don't mind me asking, David? How big are they and how much are they?
So those are going to be around 750 to 850 square meters, so
Yep.
good size, and they're pretty much just over $1 million
Okay.
starting. So you'll have a chance, depending on how you play your numbers. You could get in just under $2 million for a nice direct oceanfront home.
Yeah. And it would probably generate you, you probably, if managed well, maybe could do 7-8%, maybe even up to 10, depending on
Oh
what
yeah.
happens.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
So,
For sure.
and again, tidal beachfront, there's just not that much of it in Costa Rica. But, one thing I've always thought that Costa Rica needs is like apart hotels, David. Like, again, you'd mentioned they're kind of like luxury hotels. I mean, what's your viewpoint on that? And, especially in Jaco, where it sounds like you guys need more luxury product.
Well, hopefully I've got a listener on your podcast. What's unique about Jaco is that the development has been condo development. And in the Jaco area, as much as it is a tourist hub, we don't have anchor hotels in our area. We have the Marriott, but that's in the resort. And on Jaco Beach, it's pretty much condo hotels, or I mean condos, that people rent as vacation rentals. We are screaming and we are dying for a brand name anchor hotel on this beachfront. And I have no doubt that a Marriott Westin, something to that magnitude, would just absolutely kill it. However, what happens is that the developers, they don't want a hotel. They
Right.
don't want to operate a hotel. They want to build and sell and get out. And that's what they keep doing. But I think that there's a huge opportunity, whether it's a developer, whether it's a buyer or an investor, to basically some sort of partnership or development where, look, kind of like what Crocs did, have your condos
Yep.
and have your hotel.
Yep.
And lease that hotel or sell that hotel to an investor or partner or whatever. And then that way you can have your cake and eat it too. And then in a perfect world, that hotel can partner because all these brand names they want the vacation rental part of it as well. So, the Marriott, Bonvoy, all those, brand names are having that where, hey, we'll manage that as well. So then that way we can offer that to both of our guests or both options. So I think there's an opportunity there. Let's see if that happens and if that comes, hopefully.
Yeah, I think that I don't know whether it would be word blended residence style stuff, but when you have a hotel that has a lot of people coming through, it really just drives up the value of the condos as well. So, a condo and we've seen it all over Costa Rica of like, again, take, Los Sueños. What's really kicked that off was, well, of course they had a marina, but they had the Marriott Los Sueños there. So people would come down and they would stay at the hotel and go, you know what, this is pretty cool. I like this. Let me buy a condo here, and as then they get kind of property managed, it drives up the values of other stuff because people basically then can get positive cash flow and now it becomes a business. So there's a premium to it. It's not just the real estate. And there's a whole kind of snowball that happens there that we constantly see throughout Costa Rica.
Yeah, and I think people don't necessarily understand it, but it makes a lot of sense. In a tourism market and in a destination market, the accommodation is the driver to the real estate.
Correct.
Costa Rica blew up and the real estate blew up because tourism blew up.
Yep.
It was the tourism that drove it, and then that's where people bought the property. Los Sueños works because people stay at the Marriott, then they look around. And all the other markets, you have a high-end, accommodation, then you're going to get higher-end clients, and then you're gonna match that type demographic. And that's what's so odd with Jaco is that it's really been a suppressed market because of those issues, because of our accommodations have always been affordable. Our accommodations have been affordable condos which lead to affordable vacation rentals. And that's what's kept it at a certain level. So the next step for Jaco in its growth is stepping up that tier of accommodations. And that's what's going to lead to that higher end clientele.
David, we don't often talk about Playa Hermosa, which is next door, which, I mean, Jaco is kind of very busy. Playa Hermosa is kind of more of like a surf beach town with some cool, beachfront restaurants and bars, and does have some smaller boutique hotels up there. What's development happening there?
Hermosa is doing very well. So Hermosa is going to cater more towards the single family homes.
Yep.
They have a little bit of beachfront there that's titled, and they see some development on the beach. There's one specific community that's done very well there. You have the Mystica Resort. They're starting to pick up steam. They just got a huge amount of funding that should be able to pour some gasoline and speed things along there.
Yep.
And then up in the mountains, you have some opportunity to get some ocean views by Perdido. That's a gated community that's done very, very well. So that has been doing well. It's been a combination of, more end users that want a single family home. They don't want a condo. They're looking to spend, 6 months a year or live here. And then you have also the investors that are, hey, I can get a 5-bedroom, 6-bedroom house, rent that out, and make a good return. So it's been a combination of growth there.
Yeah, I've always thought that like a boutique luxury hotel in Playa Hermosa would do very well.
For sure. Anything that's hip, anything that's modern, anything that's luxury, right, in the area has the ability to do well. So, again, Mystico, you put a brand name hotel there, it will just crank. Estoril still doesn't have a whole lot. I've got a client of mine that renovated a hotel down there, and same thing, contemporary, modern, hip, and he's killing it. He's doing really, really well over there because, again, there's no competition in that. I had someone ask me, it was actually my attorney. He said, hey, I've got some friends coming. They want a hotel. They don't want a condo. They want a hotel in the area coming for the weekend. What do you recommend? And I told him, I said, look, hotels outside of the Marriott, I mean, they're just nothing special over here.
Yeah, I mean, what is it? I mean, it's Crocs, Best Western, like it's like 3-star.
It's a dump, right? Yeah. I mean, but that's a perfect example. The Best Western is full all the time, right?
Because it caters to a local. Best Western. But it's Best Western, it caters to locals and foreigners. It's affordable.
Yeah. And they feel, oh, hey, out of all these options, at least I kind of know the Best Western. So
you know what you're getting.
I know it's a brand name. So the potential's there for sure.
Awesome. Well, I've kept you long enough. And so my last question for you, sir, if you inherited $500,000 and you had to invest it in business or real estate in Costa Rica, what would you invest it in, buddy?
I'm ready for the question. So I got a good one this time.
Okay. Love
it. I've been on the hunt for billboards. Man, I don't know how to do it. I don't know how to spend it, but I want to get in on wherever I can own billboard space.
Yep.
Because what these guys are getting for rent is insane. So find me. I don't know how I do it, but I'm going to spend $500,000 wherever I can have billboard space and lease that and rent that because it's crazy. I mean, guys are getting anywhere from $800 to $1,200 a month for putting up a billboard on someone. Like, it's crazy.
That's nuts. Wow.
It is nuts. So we need to talk and figure out how to make that happen. But
I mean, I look at that though, and I go, God, what could that do on online advertising? I mean, it could, rather than a billboard. But I've always, I mean, I've been in the marketing world for a long time, and like I've always loved online advertising because I can track it. Whereas I get billboards, it's very difficult to track who looks at it, and like so, it's more branding if that makes sense.
For sure, but I just want to own the space where someone will give me that amount, right? That's what I want.
Yeah, I think how it works sometimes here, though, is that there is a like a Publix or something. There's an actual company here that rents space on someone, like some farmer's land that has it at
I think that's what they're doing.
$300 a month, or gives them a lump sum with a contract for like 3 years, and then they're just selling it for $1,000.
For sure,
you want to be that middleman.
I want to own that land. I want to figure out if I can get some little pieces spend 500,000 on wherever I can find some land off of highway where I can put a billboard and then lease it out. That's how I'm going to spend my 500 grand.
So the first time I think that we've ever had that on here. So very, very interesting. But I always say that hay plata en el calle. There's money in the street here. You just need to pick it up.
Oof. Yeah, and it's interesting, right? I mean, the amount of money that is out there on Facebook and I mean, all sorts of marketplace and things like that, for sure. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, David, it's been great to have you on the podcast. Anyone that wants to get in contact with you, I'll put all of your contact details down in the description. But very much appreciate your time, sir.
Good talking shop as always, man.
No worries. Have a good one. All
right, take care.
Great podcast there from David. I always say that, okay, I mean, I think it's a little bit more expensive to invest in the luxury market, but the work is the same, guys. I mean, the work in a property that is $300 a night is the same as $3,000 a night. You still need the same amount of staff. Okay, the level of service might need to be a little bit better, but it's not astronomical, and your expenses really are not that much more either, but your returns actually are a lot higher. Some of the highest performing rental returns in the country are the larger homes. There's an 8-bedroom one in Tamarindo that I know does exceptionally well. It's kind of like 11 or 12% return on that one. But anyway, hope you enjoyed that podcast there. I think 2025, we'll start to see some settling as well in the market. I think we'll start to see that post-election, of course. We'll also probably start to see a bit of a swing as people start to want to potentially have a plan B, diversify outside of the US. And again, if there's any interest in diversifying any investments outside of the US, please contact us and we'll have a quick chat with you. No obligation, guys, just kind of give you our viewpoint. I do a lot of investing down here myself. And I always say that I eat the pudding that I serve. So email us info@investing@costarica.com. If you're enjoying the podcast, guys, please give us 5 stars. Hit that subscribe button as well, just so that you get notified every single time that we have a new podcast come out. We're doing them weekly at the moment, but I may start to do 1 or 2 basically every other week and kind of every 2 weeks, like two in a week, just so that we can kind of just get a little bit more content out there for you. But yeah, pass the pod. Appreciate your time and have a great day. Bye.
The #1 Costa Rica real estate and investment podcast, bringing you experts from all over Costa Rica.